Let's just dive right into this, guys, because choosing your very first client program is honestly one of the most high-stakes decisions you're going to make in your entire remote work journey. Seriously, it sets the foundation for literally everything else. It dictates your daily stress levels, and let's be real, it can completely be the difference between building a sustainable, lucrative career from home or just throwing your hands up in total frustration after like 2 weeks. And we are absolutely not going to let that happen to you. So today's explainer is all about choosing smart, not fast. To guide us through all this, we're tapping into a fantastic framework developed by Mel. She's an incredible advisor over at KMI Virtual Solutions. Now, Mel has mentored countless remote professionals, and what's really amazing about her approach is this fired-up, deeply protective energy she brings. You know that mentor who's just seen perfectly capable beginners make the exact same career-derailing mistakes time and time again? That's her, and she absolutely refuses to let you be just another statistic. She's bringing the facts, not the emotions, to this massive decision. Which brings us to the hard truth. Listen closely, because the absolute #1 mistake beginners make when picking a client program is choosing based solely on the highest pay rate, period. It's a trap. I mean, you see that big dollar sign per hour, your eyes completely light up, and you just hit apply without actually understanding the reality of what that high rate demands. Well, that ends today. So here's our roadmap for today. We just covered the #1 mistake, and next we're going to break down the 6 essential categories for success, clearly define what we call the beginner-friendly sweet spot, and finally wrap up with some hard and fast rules for avoiding the wrong fit. All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the 6 categories for success. Mel actually provides this totally foolproof whiteboard framework to help you evaluate your options objectively. We're looking at pay rate, schedule flexibility, training length, call volume, skill level required, and long-term earning potential. Look, if you want to make a smart, truly sustainable decision, every single one of these categories matters. Think of it like buying a car, right? You wouldn't just buy a car only because it has a crazy high top speed. You need to know if the brakes work, if it actually fits your family, and if you can, actually drive the thing. Let's break these down. We're starting with pay rate, because honestly, this is where the trouble usually starts. A super high pay rate, it often hides a brutal learning curve. If a program is paying top dollar, it usually means you're going to be dealing with incredibly complex systems, super demanding customers, and intense metrics right out of the gate. And if you jump straight into that as a beginner, the sheer overwhelm can cause you to burn out and quit before you ever even see that first consistent paycheck. A high rate tells you absolutely nothing about how sustainable the work actually is for you right now. Next up is schedule flexibility, and I really, really want to emphasize this one. For a beginner, schedule flexibility is not a luxury, it is an absolute necessity. Remember, you are just learning how to operate as an independent contractor. You're figuring out how time blocks work and how to juggle this with your family or, just your real life. A program with rigid, inflexible scheduling is going to make your learning curve incredibly painful. You really need that ability to choose morning, afternoon, or evening blocks to fit your actual life while you get your footing. Then we've got training length. And programs vary wildly here. Some offer a super short training, like just a few days, getting you on the phones fast. Others require a heavy multi-week training commitment. Now, multi-week training isn't a bad thing at all. Actually, it often leads to higher earning potential down the road because the program is more established. But here's the catch. If you aren't mentally and financially prepared to sit through weeks of unpaid or low-paid training, you're going to get overwhelmed and fail to even complete it. You just have to know exactly what you're signing up for. Now, here's a factor that literally directly impacts your daily sanity: call volume. High call volume means back-to-back calls. You hang up and beep, the next person is instantly there. That is awesome for experienced agents who just want to maximize their hours. But for beginners, no way. You need low to medium call volume. You absolutely need that breathing room between interactions to review your notes, figure out the systems, and practice your scripts without, having a total panic attack. Our 5th category is the skill level required. See, some programs demand advanced technical knowledge right out of the gate, but as a beginner, you want to actively look for a lower barrier to entry. Look for programs that are explicitly designed for new agents, ones with simpler systems and highly structured training. And let me just reassure you right here, right now, there's absolutely zero shame in starting in a beginner-friendly program. It's not a step back, it is literally the smartest way to build your experience and your confidence quickly. And the final category is long-term earning potential. Because even though this is just your first program, you definitely don't want it to be a dead end. Look for a program that doesn't have some artificial ceiling slapped on it. You want a place where, as you gain tenure and your metrics improve, there's actually room to grab more hours and grow your income. Your first program doesn't have to be your forever program, but it absolutely needs to be a solid foundation that you can actually build upon.
Moving on to Section 2, the beginner-friendly sweet spot. So what exactly does that look like?
If you're feeling even a little bit intimidated by all these options right now, just take a deep breath. Choosing a program that fits this sweet spot means you are being incredibly smart. Here's your checklist. You want a competitive but realistic pay rate, nothing suspiciously high. You want training that's structured and actually completable within a few weeks. You want that low to medium call volume so you can find your rhythm. You need the skill level to match exactly where you are today, not where you hope to be 6 months from now. And finally, you absolutely must have real-life schedule flexibility. Agents who start smart with these exact criteria, they are always the ones who build their remote careers the fastest. And to help you actually do this, KMI Virtual Solutions uses this client program comparison sheet. Honestly, this is your master tool. Do not just try to hold all these different factors in your head. When you're looking at 2 or 3 different client programs, put them side by side in a grid exactly like this. Evaluate every single program against all 6 of those categories. I promise you, when you map it out visually like this, the right choice usually becomes glaringly obvious. All right, let's go to Section 3, avoiding the wrong fit and how to guard against making a bad choice. Because even with that comparison sheet in hand, the temptation to make a flashy, impulsive decision is still going to be there. We have to actively guard against picking a disastrous first program. So I need you to hear me loud and clear on this. Do not choose a program just because someone else in a random Facebook group is doing it and bragging about it. Do not choose a program simply because it has the highest pay rate on the board. And definitely do not choose a program just because the brand name sounds impressive to drop at parties. You choose a program because it matches where you are right now, and because it gives you the absolute highest chance of showing up consistently. Let's look at this stark contrast because, guys, this is the math that actually matters in remote work. A program with a moderate pay rate where you experience consistent success, where you log in without a knot of anxiety in your stomach, and where you confidently complete your hours, that program will always earn you more money at the end of the month than a program with a sky-high pay rate where you're immediately struggling, literally crying at your desk, and burning out after week 1. There's this quote from the KMI source material that is just a massive reality check. It says, starting strong in the right program is worth more than starting fast in the wrong one. Just let that sink in for a second. This single decision sets the tone for everything that comes after it in your remote work journey. If you rush it, you are basically building a house on sand. But if you take your time and choose smartly, you're pouring a rock-solid concrete foundation. So, as we look at this whole KMI Virtual Solutions methodology, the call to action is pretty clear. Use their comparison framework. Actually sit down and evaluate those 6 categories. Make your decision based on facts, not emotions, and definitely not ego. Move the right way, not the rushed way. I'm going to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought to chew on today. When you go to select that very first program, will you put your ego aside, choose smart, and build a reliable, consistent income? Or will you choose fast, chase the highest hourly rate, and risk completely burning out before your career even begins? The choice is entirely yours. But hey, now you have the exact tools to make the right one. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.